Hello and welcome to Psyched, the show where we explore psychedelics through social, economic, and political perspectives. Martina Hoffman. She'll be talking on art and the inner journey as tools for transformation. Martina's art explores this mysterious and essential nature of consciousness as it exists in all living things and is expressed as energy. Her visionary symbolism is decidedly feminine and places the archetype of the universal woman in an intimate cosmos. She translates her experiences as well as her reflections on our place in the universe in a symbolic style, which marries the fantastic to the sacred. Martina Hoffman has spoken at symposiums and festivals about visionary art and culture worldwide. Martina, thank you so much for joining us and welcome to Psyched.
So here we go. So welcome to my studio. This is wonderful. Thank you for the invitation, Mark. Powerful statements just before, and these are certainly unsettling times as we are facing this auspicious crisis together. And nothing new. We've been warned about this. We knew that these times would come with our overconsumption and overproduction, that the earth would be thrown out of whack and us with her. And this global crisis has forced all humanity to stop in its tracks and to face globally and collectively the problems at hand, but it's also forced us individually to look at our own demons and shadows. And this whole time of confinement, I've likened it to a forced vision quest, if you want, or an entheogenic extended journey. And while this could be potentially frightening and upsetting to many or some, depending on our living situations and circumstances, it's also an incredible opportunity to face the deeper levels of our existence and to see what is there for us. And I've certainly had a lot of experience of the shadow in my own life. And I would like to share a little bit with you the two primary tools that I've had the great luck and pleasure to experience. That is one, my practice as an artist, as a visionary artist, and also the entheogenic experience to navigate the rapids of my life. And this presentation will illustrate some of these tools, and I hope this will be inspiring and helpful for you. And as always, sharing deeply with our tribe, with our community during times of upheaval has proven to be soothing, and together we've always found solutions. So I hope that this will be the case, so we can move forward, create new paradigms together. So I find it really a great opportunity and an important time. And hopefully we can turn this into a very positive event. So I'm jumping right into my PowerPoint presentation here. And go into the slideshow. So throughout time, individuals have attempted to make sense of our human experience by creating images that describe all aspects of our existence. And as a visionary artist, of course, I have a very close connection to the type of visionary art that portrays not just the everyday experience, but everything that happens on the other side of consensus experience, such as the dream, the psychedelic experience, the mythical experience. And the term visionary art, I'd like to explain it first, is often likened in the United States to psychedelic art, but it's much vaster than that. It deals with with all various forms of expanded states of awareness, such as the dream, the mystical experience, other worlds and realities, visions of the future, and certainly also the shamanic realms and the psychedelic experience. So in essence, visionary means thinking about or planning the future with imagination or wisdom. And my late husband, Robert Venosa, was once asked during an interview, what is the future of visionary art? And he just said, visionary art creates the future. So here quickly some of my favorite examples of visionary art. And it is a huge, huge family of artists that exists not just in the past, but also now. And there's an avalanche of images I could show you, but I will keep this fairly short and just show you my personal favorites. And starting with the oldest art known to man, we have the cave paintings in France, Lascaux and Altamira, where we see depictions of herds, animal herds, but also curious entities that are called therianthropes. They're half human, half beast, and they show us possibly the mystic trance or the shaman as a shapeshifter. And these are very, very ancient images that are actually up to 17,000 years old. And in indigenous cultures, we have art that is very much related to medicine, plant medicines and entheogens. So here we have Huichol art and ayahuasca art, traditional ayahuasca art by Pablo Amoringo, and more current art by his first student, Anderson de Bernardi. And I'm going to focus here more on Western art and show you some of my favorite examples. And while some of these artists might not be visionary artists in the strict sense of visionary painting, because I see visionary art as being more of a current that goes through all of art history. And many, many examples throughout the ages have been produced, such as Hieronymus Bosch, William Blake, Richard Dadd, Gustave Moreau, Pavel Chelychev, Max Ernst, Beksinski, Ernst Fuchs. Here a picture with my late husband, Robert, who was a student of Ernst Fuchs. This is how he began his career. He also studied with Marty Klauwein, best known for his album cover for Santana, Abraxas. This is one of Marty's very wonderful depictions of the astral body. The Viennese D.S. Schwertberger, these are all personal friends of mine, so I love to show their work. They're just amazing. And the work of my beloved ex-husband, Robert Venosa. Here's an image of him. H.R. Giger, the creator of the Alien movie, Monster. Alex Gray. Here's Alex and us at the Kona Hawaii conference of Terence McKenna in 1999, the All Chemical Conference. That's where we met first time. Our dear friend Andrew Gonzalez, beloved Liba Waring Stambolion, and Luis Tamani, who is one of the great artists, Peruvian artists of ayahuasca and shamanic art today, in my opinion. So jumping deeper into my personal life, I grew up in Cameroon, West Africa. So I've been a world citizen all my life, basically. And during these times, I was introduced to expanded states of consciousness via severe migraine headaches that would happen several times a week. So I had visual as well as auditory hallucinations. And during these times in Africa, I was very much inspired and confronted, of course, but also very much inspired by African art and masks, which would find a reflection in my art as an art student in Frankfurt at the Goethe University much later. And this also inspired later on a series of goddess sculpture inspired by the African fertility goddesses, and the Willendorf figurines, the Paleolithic figurines. I'm just showing you some examples of my sculptures, different goddess archetypes, arched angel, pregnant nude, sphinx. And fast forward to where I'm actually becoming the artist, the painter. And during my student years as a sculptor, I took a sabbatical, 6 months, moved to Paris, and was synchronistically transported to a beautiful fishing village in the Mediterranean called Cadaqués, which is also best known for its most famous inhabitant at the time, Salvador Dali. And here I met my to-be husband, later to-be husband, Robert Venosa. Robert is not with us anymore, but we shared 30 amazing years together. And he was an amazing, amazing artist. He was best known to portray the light and the crystalline worlds and angels and otherworldly entities. This piece is called Ayahuasca Dream. Ayahuasca Yahe Guide, I'm sorry. And Robert was such an amazing artist, and I was so inspired by his work that I asked him to show me the ropes. So he taught me the ancient Mish technique, and I began painting portraits primarily at first. And these portraits, this is my first portrait of him. They were mostly photorealistic, but already with a somewhat visionary background. So the visionary was never very far from me. And throughout the years, I've created many portraits, such as this one of Ram Dass and this of my now partner, Pascal Ferry. In the early years of knowing Robert, a very magical event entered my life. Robert introduced me to the entheogenic experience through LSD. He was an amazing guide. He had been a guinea pig in the 60s and was a seasoned pioneer and journeyer, psychonaut. And with the help of, courtesy of the wonderful invention of Dr. Albert Hoffman, I embarked on my first journey, and this journey gave me the experience of absolute unity and experiencing consciousness in all places. And I painted this painting on the occasion of his 100th birthday. Here you see me with him and his wife, Anita, in his home in Switzerland. And I'll never forget this experience. Changed my life, it changed my art. It expanded my consciousness. And at the heart of my work, there's always the sacred feminine. And this is due to my great inspiration of the female, of the mothers and the beauty of the African women that I encountered in my childhood. And throughout the years, I've created many portraits of pregnant nudes, motherhood, and a huge piece called The Goddess Triangle, 20 by 10 feet. And also, I've dealt with the creation myth, the feminine archetypes, such as the cosmic mother, the goddess. And this piece was actually in the collection of my dear friend, Dr. Albert, and the spiritual warrior, the healer, and the shaman. But enter the shamanic realm, since this is a conference on psychedelics. In the early 90s, Robert and I, we had now moved from Cadaqués and made Boulder, Colorado our primary home. And we met the amazing Terence McKenna. We became very close friends, and Terence invited us to teach workshops at Esalen Institute in California. And so enticed and mesmerized by his talks about the heroic dose of 5 grams of psilocybin and the DMT experience, as well as ayahuasca, we started actually traveling to the Amazon, Brazil primarily, where the usage of this plant medicine is legal in indigenous contexts, also with the Santo Daime. And here you see my work really blowing up and becoming something completely different as I was trying to translate these experiences onto my canvas. And things were really amazing and beautiful in our lives until Robert was diagnosed with cancer in 2003. And this experience really prompted us to go deeper into the ayahuasca experience. And we stepped out our travels. We made them annual travels of several weeks, and we would go to Brazil as well as Peru and work with various shamans and in the Amazon, in healing centers, and worked with this amazing medicine, very powerful medicine that consists of 2 different plants, Banisteriopsis caapi, the vine, and Psychotria viridis, the chacruna, which provides the visuals. This is a depiction of the spirit of chacruna I created. And these journeys are very, they need to be prepared well with fasting and praying and cleansing of the body first. This is probably the largest journey we've ever done. We were 70 people, but mostly we worked one-on-one or in very small groups with our healers and shamans. This is a beloved Shipibo elder, Doña Maria. And Convergence 2008, we had the opportunity to meet some amazing people such as Mitch Schulz, who created the famous DMT movie, Jan Conan, the creative French director of Renegade, and beloved Pablo Amaringo, an amazing painter and ex-shaman. The ayahuasca experience is one where you drink the medicine and you will purge, which is a prelude to the visions. And the imagery is the visions are just totally phantasmagorical. The glyphs, the energy, all pervasive, and there's the snake totems, the jaguar totems. And as for any successful journey and spiritual practice, the first step is absolute surrender. And this is what this painting is all about. Another incredible feature of ayahuasca is the potential to have telepathic communications with the people in your space. And Robert and I had many, many of those experiences. And together we went deep into these communications to find solutions for his healing process and for his cancer. Robert had actually refused most of allopathic treatment. And we used a lot of natural medicines, and ayahuasca was one of them. And the mystical experience is certainly also a powerful part of the ayahuasca experience, as well as most entheogenic experience. And the alien realms, the alien entities, and the great transformational power, sometimes the shadow enters. And the mother energy, the mother spirit of ayahuasca, and her many snake energies that are always pervasive. So during these retreats, we also would teach workshops sometimes. And here you see us in a Peruvian shamanic center with Jan Conan. And during this time, since we're not using oil paints in the Amazon, I created some of these drawings and sketches of my experiences. This is a little image inspired by the Shipibo patterns that are songs in ayahuasca. During the journeys, the shamans sing. They see the energetic body of the person in front of them with the person that needs to be healed, and they sing anything that is out of context or any disruption into wholeness. Here, another one of those. So throughout these years, our life together became actually quite beautiful, more beautiful than we had expected this very harrowing diagnosis to be. Robert had been given 3 months, and we turned it into 8.5 beautiful years. And during this time, we traveled intensively. Our relationship blossomed even in deeper ways and became more incredible and more beautiful than anybody could have ever imagined. And we took workshops at many festivals in centers such as Esalen and Omega, but here this was our largest workshop. I think there were about 350 people present at Boom Festival. And we gave presentations at IONS in California. We spoke together with Alex and Allison Gray at Palenque Norte at Burning Man. And here is a panel with Daniel Pinchback, Graham Hancock, Veda Luth, and Nassim Hamayedin. And another panel event with Alex and Allison Gray and Robert and Donna Torres at Moksha Family in Florida. And here just with kindred spirits, having fun at Burning Man, the night of the burn. And we certainly painted live in many different settings. This is at Red Rocks in Colorado. Daunting experience to be painting live in front of 10,000 people and being televised and broadcasted all over the place. And everything was just an amazing, amazing 8 years until Robert's spirit had other plans and his health declined. And these are images I created in his support for these last months on Earth. A portrait I created on the occasion of his birthday, his last birthday, Gayatri as a mantra, and La Curandera. So Robert left in August of 2011, and this threw my life into a spin. It was a very difficult time for me, and the trauma and the grief prompted me to explore deeply my own fears, my demons, my shadows, and my art, as you can see, became more somber. I had to find the shaman within myself. And, but as always, even within these very dark moments, there are always moments for expansion and learning at every curve. Interestingly, a lot of my work is very prophetic. I painted this little painting as a prelude to a very large piece I had planned in 2013. I was traveling in Europe at the time, and when I returned, I faced my house underwater. This was part of the incredible flooding event in Colorado, which made us feast FEMA disaster zone in 2013. I had to gut my home, rebuild over the course of 8 months. That was very, very hard. Luckily, I had met a wonderful man who became one of my primary supporters, and he was so helpful and so healing in my life, and helped me also to go through the loss of my mom 2 years later. After she left, and I had been helping her to overcome, I had been hoping that she would heal from cancer. I finally retrieved from the world, moved to the empty beaches of Brittany, where Pascal lived. Pascal is a French visionary artist. And I moved into his studio, and together we would create. Pascal made sure I ate, slept, and painted while I was completely falling apart. And I know now can say that I entered a time of deep depression. But art kept me going, and also the courage that I had learned during my shamanic experiences was very, very helpful during this time. So I'm sharing some of the images that I created during these years from 2015 to now. But there's always the silver lining and the entities that support us, such as Colibri, aligning to the realm, Universal Mother, the beautiful entities and otherworldly landscapes that bring us the possibility of maybe alien life being out there that is ready to give us clues on how to deal better on this earth. Maybe divine intervention is at stake. The shapeshifters, the entities that live in these realms and in other worlds, sacred animals, more entities, devas, elementals, alien life forms, and snakes and glyphs. And the portraits have remained a great feature of my art. As always, I like to portray the energy that surrounds a person, that is present at every given moment in our lives, and that shifts with every thought, with every move we make, and that reverberates throughout the universe. This is a portrait of Robert I created just a couple of years ago. And I learn a lot about the people I paint, about my subjects doing these painting sessions. And here, one more, Trung Lee. And the creatrix is always in my work, beholding infinity, bringing in the light, which is something we all need to do collectively right now. So I hope that we'll stay strong and just take this task and turn this very powerful situation into an opportunity to make the changes so we can move forward on this planet and finally have the lives that we've been hoping for so long. And this is a piece that I started painting in the fall of 2019. Like I said, my work is very prophetic, and at the time I wasn't sure what I was doing, but now I understand. It was announcing a time of great turmoil and change, but the blessing also announces us the potential to make good. And just a few words about my art. My work is an attempt to portray source energy as a unifying universal force beyond the confines of cultural and religious differences. And by embracing our oneness as a global human family, the interdependency of all life, as well as our universal interconnectedness, we have a chance to heal and transform the planet's current state of woundedness. And in this pursuit, we may use art as a tool for transformation, and with it, have the opportunity to create a shared reality as beautiful, healthy, and strong as our imagination permits. So there's much to be inspired by. There's museums worldwide, the Naya Museum in France, and there's the upcoming Entheogen Museum, there's the Giga Museum in Switzerland, Shimaria Festival, and also we're hoping at some point to create a physical place for the Viva collection, the private Robert Venosa collection. If you want to join in and have ideas about this, by all means. I've created a video about Robert's life. This is in his own words. You can find all this online on my website. And also I'm working and finishing right now a movie conversation interview with Stanislav Graf. This was recorded in 2009, Transpersonal Conversations. It's going to be released in conjunction with his 2-volume book and the streaming of his movie, The Way of the Psychonaut. And you can find me online, martinahoffman.com and robertvenosa.com. So with this, I hope I haven't gone over time, and I'm hoping to come back to be talking to Marek. So here we go.
I'm here, Martina. Hey,
I don't know where I am with time because I couldn't see my watch.
No worries, no worries. We're good, we're good. Thank you for this. This was really, really beautiful, extremely moving. And I'm sorry for the loss you've had to face. And thank you. Our community right now is writing in the chat. So thank you for continuing to create your art and for creating such beauty in the world. We really appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, I'd love to start off with just a question on this image of the snake. It's something that we talk about quite a lot, and kind of imagery of ayahuasca specifically. I was wondering, how do you use and relate to the image of the snake in your art and just kind of your own interpretation of that symbol?
Yeah, so the snake came to me, of course, with my first journeys with ayahuasca, and my first experience with ayahuasca made me face a very, very long, what appeared to be hours worth of just looking at snakes. There was nothing but snakes, and this totem has remained with me since that time. Snakes, of course, have a very ancient history in art and in religion, or in pre-Christian religion. Snake for me represents the transformation, the psychic energy that we have, the potential for great change and for healing.
Beautiful. I would love for you to just share with us, you've clearly gone through this incredible process, through grief and through joy and through a lifetime together with an individual, and then having to transition out of that and be able to continue with your art, but still calling back to some of these motifs. What do you feel like were some of the largest changes in your art, whether it was the loss of Robert or just other major transition points in your life? What were those main transitions? Were they, you painting with a different metaphor, different stylistically? You kind of showed us the arc a little bit, but I'd love for you to touch even deeper on some of those details.
Sure, sure. Are you referring to Would you like me to talk about what were the moments that inspired certain changes in my artwork, or?
Yeah, specifically, what were the changes in your art that happened as a result of those moments?
Okay, yes. Well, I mean, first of all, I have to say that I don't really plan my art. My art is sort of comes through me. I start, I watched Amanda Sage's presentation, and we all share a very interesting process, which means that oftentimes I just flow out paint, and it becomes sort of an amorphous abstract background, and then I start looking into these forms, and there's a narrative that emerges, like a story that speaks to me. So it's less me painting the painting, but I let the painting tell me what it wants to be. So that's the way I work. So with this said, I never know what I'm going to paint next, but I always trust that whatever happens in my life and whatever needs to be processed will be processed while I'm painting. So I'm no stranger to trauma. I had an experience of sexual abuse in my life as a child. The loss is one thing, but we all have so many things to deal with, and I have to honestly say that having had the expression, the creative expression, has been tremendously supportive, as it's been an outlet as well as a way to understand those moments and those times of healing and change. And I don't know if I answered your question.
Well, I would love to take that opportunity to extend on another one, is, this idea of improvisation and connecting it specifically to art as, art is very much a physical way of expression, right? It's not only kind of displaying your visions, but your body's actually moving with it in specific ways. There's so much, control that you need in regards to actually conveying what you're trying to create. I was wondering if you could describe almost the physiological experience of painting for yourself, in being able to process and heal.
Yes. So when I sit down at the easel, when I work on a piece, there's always that moment where I'm looking at my canvas. I just finished doing whatever I do in my daily life, and within minutes, I'm able to go into a place that I call really an altered state. It's very similar to a meditation, if you want. It's almost like it's almost as if I went through some sort of a veil, and whoop, I'm in this other space where everything around me disappears, and I'm there with this experience. And that is the moment when it all happens, when I have inner conversations where I'm starting to listen. An avalanche of thoughts certainly comes, just like in a meditation, and I let all of it come. I kind of look at it in a very removed way, and there will always be one or two elements that sound true, and they will find also their way into my canvas in form, in color, in content.
Definitely. Well, Martina, we are out of time, but thank you so much. Really looking forward to talking more soon. Thank you for everything you've shared with us.
Well, thank you so much. This was a pleasure.
Wonderful. Be well.
Bye-bye. Thank you.